Let's move forward. Let's try and figure out what this API folder right here is all about. Well, the first thing you see is we have 3 folders right now. You have the index folder. Now index, let's just get that out of the way. Index is kind of the way, it's an index.js is normally used as an access point to any folder that you have, right? So if you have a JavaScript folder, it normally has some kind of index.js file, and that's kind of the access point always to a folder, meaning that this guy knows all the different, in this case, routes in this folder. Down here it would be the default registration and where to go to get your information, right? So there's almost always an index file to get things started in any folder in JavaScript libraries. That's you can always find an index.js. So in here you have 2 routes available right now. You have /users, that's the one we're going to focus on, and then you have one called auth. Now let's just focus on the way that the users actually work before we start playing around with authentication with the users, right? So we're just going to have a look at the API of users. And as you can see, you have like 5 different files here for this, and 2 of them are test files, so we won't look at that right now. Then you have a model file. Now the model file is kind of big and complex here. It's because we have the user model here. We'll make a simple one later. There's a lot of information going in here, but think of this as where you have to find your user schema, and then he added a lot of other information here where he kind of makes sure that we can save and we can make sure there's not already an email with the same name, stuff like that. So he's made some extensions, and we'll get back to that later as well. The index.js file, which is also in here, is kind of the access point for us again for this route, right? So like I said, all folders have an index.js. So this is what we say: if you do a slash, then you'll hit this route. If you do a /me, you'll hit this route. If you do an ID, you'll hit this route. Post, put, get. So these are all the different routes for handling users. And again, this is pretty complex because this is the user for a system. So users are just complex for systems. And then the last one we have is like the controller again, like we saw in the other videos, where we start working with things like how to show users, how to show single user, or create users. We're going to dive into all of these after we played around with some basic Postman authentication in the next videos. Because since we do not have authentication right now, or we actually already have authentication available in this folder right here, I won't touch it right now, you can actually not get all the users out. So if I do a send here, I'll get an unauthorized exception. In the next couple of videos, I want to show you guys how you can actually authenticate yourself from Postman and get the users out using a token and stuff like that. So let's start there, and then we'll dive into how to use the different calls for a user. See you next time.